Hello and welcome to ARKS Lounge. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Krono Katastrophe.
Yo.
Welcome, Krono.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. How was your elongated month? We had one extra week between the headlines.
Oh, that's right. I don't know, just spent it doing what we usually do. Stream whatever's fun. Laugh at all the craziness that happens on social media. And theory craft what we're gonna see in the headline and pray that we're huffing hopium instead of copium.
Yeah, I've been on the hopium since the roadmap dropped.
Always hopium.
It's hard
not
sometimes.
hopium until afterwards, man.
It is hard sometimes, but I think I mentioned last time that I really like the roadmap, so yeah. I personally was a little bit more busy with catching them all in Pokemon. Finish my Paldea Pokedex and my Hisui Pokedex. Instead of playing Donkey Kong, which I have, but I was spending more time editing the video, which came out yesterday and has pretty good reception so far, which I'm very happy about.
Excited to check it out. Like
Yes.
we have a section of my Discord called Simple Mail, which chat will post things they want me to like see or react or check out and things like that. So that's usually how I get a lot of my news when it comes to gaming, a bunch of other stuff. And I checked Simple Mail this morning and your video was in it. So I was like, all right, cool. We'll definitely react to that. And then I realized the timing of the podcast. I realized the time we went live. Like I went live 4 hours ago. So I realized the time I usually stream is from 12 to 6 my time. And I was like, oh crap, I got to record at 4. And then I got past everything. I was like, okay, we'll watch the video now. And when I got to the video, I was like, it's 40 minutes long. Okay, Chad, we have to do this first thing tomorrow. Crap. I was like, time management's not on our side. I'm sorry.
I do hope you like it. I did a last minute addition to the video at the very end of it, and so far it seems people really liked it. Except the Doomers. I've got a few comments from the Doomers that are a little bit upset about the final portion of the video.
Doomers will always be Doomers. And it's part of the I've learned is being a long-time Phantasy Star fan, there's one thing that you see consistently every time. It's previous Phantasy Star game was better. I can't believe this happened. I missed this, that, and the other, and this is why I'll always play previous Phantasy Star game. And notice how I didn't say base PSO2. I say previous Phantasy Star game on purpose because I heard the same thing playing PSO2 as well.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog.
I had the same thing. Yeah, I had the same thing playing PSU and the same thing playing PSO Blue Burst, so it goes back.
Yeah.
It has continued back the entire way. I've told my chat multiple times that like it's kind of like playing Final Fantasy 11 to playing Final Fantasy 14. Like it just wildly changes between generations, and as someone who enjoyed the multi-generational Phantasy Star situation, like you get used to playing a different game every time.
Yeah, can't wait to also be in that spot by the time we get PSO3 or whatever. Because I can already imagine we get PSO3 when New Genesis ends in like 2030. And people will complain like, how dare they replace New Genesis, which has 8 years or whatever of content, with PSO3, which has no content.
We'll look back fondly, as we always do.
Yeah.
Imagine people wishing they could still play NGS. It's a novel concept.
It'll be so ironic.
I used to say that about PSU, man. And like I'm loathing it now. People are like, man, I just wish I can go back and play PSU. And I'm just thinking, oh, I lived through weapons exploding when you do upgrades. Like I lived through getting your best in slot gear and having it ruined right in front of your eyes and having to try all over again. And it was like a 2% chance drop. It was like this happened.
I think I said to Kathy, I remember hunting, I think it was Agito in PSU. And it took forever to find the board for it, and then it was, I think it was like a 24-hour synth or something like that, or 12-hour synth, hoping that works, then hoping you don't blow up while you're grinding.
It was a multi. Actually, if it was you said Agito, right? So it was the the sword, like the great sword.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was the getting the board, then waiting the 12 hours, and then it was a 67% chance for it actually completing the craft. Then it was what percentage element that you were going to get. So you had to pray it wasn't something like either 0% or 5% of an element, which would just basically throw it out at that point. And then after all of those things, then you have to survive grinding it 10 times and praying that it didn't break.
And it was really weak when you first got it as well, so you had to grind it to make it good.
Grind it. Oh, that's right. It was a Kubara weapon, so that you had to grind them too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Things are better now.
Oh, yeah. Way better.
Yeah, I recently asked on Twitter how PSU compared from launch to like the final few years in terms of gameplay. And the responses I got were very not polarizing. They're on two extreme ends. Like there are some people like Cheeto who really likes PSU, which is fine, whatever. And there are some people who are like, PSU was garbage.
Yeah, PSU started really, really bad. Like, if you thought that NGS had almost nothing to do when you first started playing a game, go back and play PSU's demo on the Xbox 360, and you will understand a lack of things to do. It was like, because the demo was basically the release of PSU on on console or I guess it was like on PC and like PS2 at first, or something like that. I want to say.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And like that release of PSU was like, I want to say it was like maybe you went to like, everyone was on Parum for the most part. Like you were on one planet, you ran maybe like 3 missions total, and one of them was like a repeat mission over and over again where you fought one boss. So like, when I say like nothing to do, and even worse, weapon design. You ever like getting the same design but in different colors? Because that's what you got for like the first 6 stars of weapons. So it was an experience, let me tell you. But that game from the start to the end, like, it's like trying to compare the start of base PSO2 to like current NGS. It was massively different. Like, by far.
Yeah, I can imagine. Specifically because like the whole weapon exploding thing that got removed eventually. Now it just lost a grind cap, which is still pretty garbage, but hey, it's better than the weapon exploding entirely.
You have to remember there were weapons that existed back then that you only got during events. There were certain weapons you can only get on your account once. Like, the first 15 star that released in the game was account bound. You got to pick between 3 items. It was either a sword, a rifle, or I think it was a rod, I want to say. And you got one of them, and that was it. And that's when the grind system was finally like, that's when it swapped over to being like out of 10 thing or whatever. And like, people didn't even want to touch that weapon. It was like their strongest, and they didn't even want to try grinding it. It was so terrible.
Unless you played on the Japanese servers where you can just throw money at it and grind it without fail.
Yeah. Pay to win is a conversation you guys are afraid of. Don't ever play PSU because ARKS Cash was different back then.
Yeah.
And that was a subscription-based game.
Yeah, it on JP it then eventually switched to free-to-play. It also introduced gacha, which is kind of funny. Because everybody blames NGS for introducing gacha.
I never understand this, because people blame NGS for gacha. Like, did you not play base PSO2 at least? I mean, it goes back further than that, but did you not play PSO2?
Apparently not.
Oh, PS2 had plenty of terrible mechanics back in the day. I always walk people through. People always like to talk about like affixing and things like that. I'm like, you guys, affixing? Yeah, it was terrible, but it was annoying, but you don't understand. I want to introduce you to the concept of weapon tickets. Like, what is that? It's like, oh, it was the ability to buy something off of the market if you were free to play and you weren't allowed to. Like, what do you mean you weren't allowed to? I had the money. Didn't matter. You didn't have a ticket. You weren't allowed.
And it was so garbage because even if you got like a 11-star weapon, which was in my case, my first 11-star weapon was a bow. Too bad I don't play Braver. but like I couldn't get the weapon ticket because exchanging the weapon for the ticket required premium, which was so awful. As a free player, you could only buy up to 9-star weapons. And then you look at, Mining Defense 4 has a really bad clear rate. I wonder why.
Yeah, 'cause no one was strong enough unless they had the credit card out, man.
Yeah.
It's not to say it's better. It's not to say that it was okay being like that, but like things were so much worse.
OT grinding. It's like, yeah, it's better than PSU, but getting a minus free because I'm upgrading a 12-star weapon is garbage.
Oh yeah, grinding when you had to grind all the way up to 10 and then start over again.
Yeah. Like, I specifically remember I got my weapon to potential level 1 plus 10 and I just stopped grinding because it just wasn't worth it. To like level up my potential, get like 3% more power and then start back on plus 0. Like, no.
Was a time, indeed.
Like, I often say that I started in 2013, but I was playing on and off because the game just infuriated me after a few hours, a few hundred hours, but like, and I didn't get really hooked on PSO2 until like 2017, because episode 4 was the patch where they basically like threw out all the cocaine they were huffing during episode 1 and 3 and cleaned their desk.
Yeah. Episode 4 was probably the time that I really like locked in and really put time into the game. Yeah. I always tell people the best parts about episode 1 through 3 were just story. That's it. Like 1 through 3 story was actually pretty solid. 1 was slow, 2 was way better, 3, like the peak of 3 was awesome. But like everything else, yeah, I can keep that.
What, you don't miss playing Luther super hard without a ranger in your party?
Yeah, I could pass that. I'm good.
Ranger who had like blind rounds that dealt 300% party damage.
And you just couldn't break the clock without a ranger?
Yeah. Or even better, you didn't have a force or a tector in your party, so you just didn't open the clock in the first place.
Yeah, the days of Xanverse doing collectively more damage than your entire NPA put together was hilarious.
Yeah. I didn't play Tector back in the day, and I wish I did, because a Wind Mastery boosted Xanverse sounds hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm. It back when there were individuals who used less than savory programs that provided us damage information, seeing your Tector have the most damage because Xanverse was included in, and like not by a little bit, by like a massive margin.
Yeah, to put
and then removing Xanverse from their damage and seeing that Xanverse alone did more damage than the entire group was hilarious.
Yeah, to put it into perspective, after they nerfed Xanverse, so it doesn't scale off of Wind Mastery and other skills, Tector was still the best DPS party contributor, if you consider Xanverse DPS as their DPS.
Oh, by far.
And now add like 60% multiplier on top of that. That's episode 1 through 3 Xanverse.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. And there were it was a time where you would actually play Tector Bouncer, or I think it was Tecbo gameplay.
Yeah,
it was a Bouncer Tector, Tector Bouncer. I can't remember which one it was.
Tector.
But there was a pair of jet boots that increased damage too.
I remember watching like gameplay of someone playing Tector Bouncer, and he was literally just spamming the Jet Boots PA that created Xanverse if you pressed weapon action, and that's all they did, because that's all they had to do.
It was that, plus the one that gave Shifta and the one that gave D-Band, and then just spam everything else.
Yeah.
And then just throw a Vento in every once in a while. Yeah. The damage was dumb.
Good times.
Some call them good.
Everything is good from a certain point of view. It builds character.
Can't fight that one, that's fair.
Okay. Sky, what have you been up to recently?
So, I actually haven't played a whole lot of NGS recently. I have been mainly focusing on getting through the classic Phantasy Stars still, so I have now finished Phantasy Star 3 and starting Phantasy Star 4. That game so far is amazing, and I should have played it way earlier. So yeah, mainly doing those and just trying to put things together. And it's been really interesting to see like how the classic games started things off, and then those themes have become prevalent through the other games later on. It's been really cool to see that, like how the franchise has developed over time.
Yeah, a common thing I see people complain about is that the newer Phantasy Star games don't care about the classic games. But I personally, as someone who started with PSO2 and I have no like experience with the older games, I don't really see that, because like even something like the PSU cities, they're like clearly named after the classic Phantasy Star cities.
Yeah. I mean, there are literally things in PSO2, like the Escafalt's Mother boss theme is literally a remix of a Phantasy Star 2 boss theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely does pay homage to previous games, and it's funny because like it was a while back, there was this whole concept of people talking about NGS and things like that. They're like, oh, this isn't a real Phantasy Star game. So Skulls at the time had never played anything earlier than NGS, so I showed her all of the older Phantasy Star games. I was like, okay, so people are dumb. They don't really know what they're talking about in this situation. I was like, Phantasy Star games have been wildly different for a long time. I was like, and I showed her Phantasy Star 1, like the first one. I was like, this is where it started, mind you. Like, it's like, this is just Final Fantasy. I was like, yeah, funny you say that, because it wasn't that far off. And like, seeing some of like the evolution of the games where they're doing like the first person thing to the dungeon crawler thing, to using more sprites and like how it evolved from there. I was like, yeah, Phantasy Star games have been wildly different. Sega chases the trend of what is popular in everything that they do when it came to Phantasy Star. So like when games became episodic, we had Phantasy Star Online. When games started doing subscriptions and doing bonuses, PSUs online. When they shifted away from it and the free-to-play thing started coming around, like they shift and they follow the trends, and it's pretty funny to see. So how far in 4 are you so far?
Still quite early, so I did a part where I've just encountered Rune, and then I'm just at the part where I've just got Rika.
Okay, so you are pretty early on then. So
yeah. I literally started it last week, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, 3 was an experience.
Yeah. I feel like all of them going from 1 to 4 just feels kind of like, I don't know. Like you start to see those jumps a lot more.
Yeah. I had a really good time with 1 and 2 in particular. 3 felt a bit rough, but I did still enjoy it though. But 3 is definitely the weak point.
That's fair. I can see that.
I kind of wish they would like partner up with Square Enix to make a HD 2D remake of the older Phantasy Star games.
I really wish they would.
That would be awesome.
Because like
I feel like that also would bring it to people to see. Like a lot of people don't know those Phantasy Star games. Like they think PSO or like Blue Burst is like the oldest Phantasy Star games and things like that. I'm like, it's been way older than that, dude.
Yeah,
but it's not helped by the fact that you literally can't buy the original games. Apart from the Switch version of Phantasy Star 1, you literally can't buy 2, 3, or 4 at the minute.
Another thing, I checked like the release date of Phantasy Star 1 yesterday, and it's like literally 2 years older than the original Game Boy.
Yeah, it's old, dude. It's
like
old.
1987, I think. Yeah. I think it released. I can't remember if it was just before or just after the very first Final Fantasy. They're pretty much about the same time.
I think it's around the same time for me, actually, if I remember correctly, but I'm terrible with dates, so I just remember them being so incredibly similar in a lot of ways. It was really funny to watch.
Final Fantasy released December 1987. Let's see.
I'm sure it was really close, the Phantasy Star 1 released. Like within a few days, possibly.
Yeah, literally 2 days later.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I remember some people saying that Phantasy Star tried to be a Final Fantasy killer, but like the game was in development before Final Fantasy even came out, so that's kind of silly.
They will have been in Endeavor about the same time, so
yeah,
they might not even know what each other were doing.
I think it's more likely they were trying to compete with Dragon Quest.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we move on, there's something else to point out. We can't have a ARKS Lounge episode without pointing out some cool artwork. This time we got an art of Sky's Taika character from Nyx again.
Thank you so much, Nyx. Absolutely love it.
Looks awesome.
Actually tried to make a pool table for a meme before, but there's restriction on how close certain parts can be together. Makes it really difficult to do, fortunately. Maybe maybe I'm just not good enough at creative spaces. I need to game the system better.
The things I have seen from creative spaces.
Dude, people go
insane.
crazy with this. Recently I saw a screenshot that's like a rice field in Japan. I'm like, there's no way this is an NGS.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I keep getting screenshots that people have sent me of just like full-on ACs just in a creative space. Just a full armored core unit.
There's this guy who has been, during PSO times, he's been like the Texture Bouncer player that everybody looked up to, because he's like, he made Texture Bouncer look like it's a viable build, but in reality you're throwing millions of meseta, recrafting your 13-star jet boots or whatever to be texture classable. But dude was sweaty with that build, and people appreciated him for it. Now he's making the most insane creative space projects ever. Like he remade Mario 3 in creative spaces. He made a whole Toy Story movie in creative spaces.
There's a space on Ship 2 that I've like occasionally come across when I was hopping, when I used to do more for GP, and it's just the first stage from Mario 64, like the entire area.
Nice.
The cannon and everything. It's slightly scaled down, that way it all fits essentially, but like it's the entire stage with everything. I was like, dude, I know where every stupid star is in this. Like, I feel so old.
I mean, talking about the original Phantasy Stars, I know there's another one on Ship 2 that has I think it's the first town, Caminite, from Phantasy Star, just entirely remodeled.
One-to-one remodeling. The entire thing is actually really, really cool. There's a couple of spaces. There's that. There's the someone has the lobby from Phantasy Star Online as well.
Oh, nice.
Modeled correctly. And then I've seen someone with the first stage. I can't remember what it was, like the first area, the forest area from online as well. That's remodeled too.
I need to check that out. I haven't seen that one.
I also saw one creative space that's like literally just the seabed area from PSO.
I've seen that too, yeah.
Like with doors, switches, and like enemies standing in corners, which is really funny.
It needs more Sinnohs jumping you from nowhere, though.
That's what I miss about the old Phantasy Star games, is that like there's something you lose when you go procedural generation a lot more, is enemy design and placement on purpose. When you first walk into an area you're not used to, just getting jumped because you know a dev designed that enemy to be right there in that one spot to absolutely get you. It's so funny.
That's honestly what I found most disappointing about the PSO2 free fields, because you have all these building blocks to make like generic dungeons, but the enemies spawn like it's an open world area, which is kind of and then the puzzles also are non-existent. Like there's a red barrier and the switch is right next to it. If you're lucky, it's hidden behind some grass you need to cut down.
Exactly. Yeah, that's something I do miss about. Like that's when and I'm sure anyone who's watching that follows my content, like old man's talking about PSU again. That's like one of those things that I love about, like I loved about PSU was like the very deliberate design choices for like enemy map. Like some maps are just terrible. I was like, this is stupid. Like, but, like it's just like the deliberate design choices on some things. Like, okay, this like they put up a fake wall here on purpose that you had to either know about or figure out or find at some point. It's like cool that you know it and you're always going to go there now, but like you kind of miss it when you don't do those things. You don't see like maps like that anymore.
Yeah. It's also something like I did play Digimon World 4, which is like a Digimon version of Phantasy Star online.
It's one of my favorite Digimon World games, actually.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. It's hated on the internet a lot, which I find a little bit funny because all the criticism is like, "Oh, this applies to PSO as well."
I was like, it's wildly different than the other Digimon World games, and they're all wildly different. Yeah, no, that's pretty on track.
Yeah, but there's some like hidden walls in that game that lead you to either a telepipe or a healing spot, and I kind of missed those kind of things.
Yeah, those were always like just that style of design. I just kind of miss that concept in general. That seems to be so gone nowadays because a lot of things are just procedural generation.
Yeah,
but like deliberate design is something I enjoyed a lot. It was a lot of fun.
I do know that a lot of people who like never played PSO2 during JP time period really miss the whole dungeon crawling aspect of older Phantasy Star games. But like if you played PSO2 on the JP service, you can kind of see why they moved away from it.
Yeah, they moved away, but they kind of like, in a sense, went back. And yep, old man's going to talk about Divide Quest again, but Divide Quest, that gave me that dungeon crawler feel, man.
It's genuinely my favorite quest type in PSO2.
I find every excuse to bring it up every time I get a chance. You might hear it again before the podcast is over. Who knows?
This is a threat.
It's a promise.
Okay, recent events. We had a player survey. Finally, after 3 years. Hooray!
Finally, we got that.
It is about time, but at the same time, I'm like, you sure you want to do that?
I mean,
you ready for this one?
Yeah, the global side will probably look very different. Although, at the same time, it does require you to input your player ID, so the people who haven't logged in for 4 years probably can't participate.
Yeah, that's always a plus, is it's at least people that are currently playing. I hope that people they're taking the time to talk about how they feel about what's there, not what they think should be there, because as a creator, I get to hear a lot about what people think should happen, and then a lot of people get really mad when I dissect it immediately, and it falls apart completely, and, what can I say? It's just kind of something I do.
Yeah.
I will say it probably didn't help the Doomers that there was only 1,000 character limit, so they couldn't go into their whole walls of text.
Yeah, they couldn't post a YouTube comment in there.
Couldn't go into their manifesto. They'd been waiting so long, they copied and they pasted and they said it's too many. You have 3,000 words. Too many.
What did you guys post in the thingy?
So for me, I just put a few things because I wanted to be kind of realistic with what I wanted to suggest, because realistically the game is a few years in now. They're not going to make massive changes to the game.
No.
I wanted to kind of give some ideas of smaller areas that I think they could maybe improve in.
Yeah.
So I basically just said that currently I think personally the Lars and Ready capsules, I'm not a huge fan of those. I think a lot of people also don't really like the fact that Lars and Raddy both exist and can both be used together. I think I would prefer it to be one or the other, just so you're not incentivizing those scratches too much, but obviously I get why they're doing it.
Yeah, I would prefer it much more if it was an alternative to Raddy, where if you, for example, have a Fatal build, you can go Lars instead, or if you have, attack on your fixer, you can go Raddy instead to have a better potency floor. That would be much healthier for the game, in my opinion.
I think it also sucks a little bit for those who spent money on the Anadi capsules as well, because now you're just replacing them with Raddy anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. I did mention about the open world. I don't think anything will change with it, but I did just say that it feels very underutilized. I know they've said that they don't really have any plans to do more open world stuff going forward, but it's very obvious when you're running around that there is a lot of empty space.
For sure.
I said the usual one, which I think most people have already said, which is story updates are still a bit too far apart. I think the mini episodes do help that.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a long time to go between main story episodes. One I did say was I don't know if you guys agree on this as well. I personally think there is far too much bloating of materials in NGS at the minute. Particularly lately, we've obviously had the Progr grinders, Evolvault, Extravance. Now we've got, is it Progravance or whatever it's called for the new armors?
Mm-hmm.
I feel you've got all of those. You've got tons of different capsules. I know the capsules can be refined into other capsules to save space a bit, but it does feel like there is a huge amount of different material items in the game at the minute, and it kind of feels that if you're not paying for material storage, it might be getting a bit tight for storage now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I think. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but yeah, I've noticed it myself.
I do agree with it, and I also mentioned something similar in my feedback.
I have very divisive and contrary opinions, but I can see how that can become much of an issue right now. Like I don't know anyone currently playing that I don't recommend to pick up material storage, honestly. But like also,
yeah, I would recommend it. Yeah.
I'm a creator, so like I can't really say that from a perspective of like, oh, you should totally be buying this material storage. Like, yeah, I'm getting it for free, no duh.
Yeah.
Like, but if I wasn't, I would be budgeting every single 3 months to purchase material storage without question.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing before I got my creator rewards.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I did before that even happened. To be fair, I was a proprietor of always having material storage. Had it before, I would have it again. That's just how I always have been when it comes to material storage. I don't think I've ever not had material storage.
Yeah, I would not go without it.
So, regardless of that fact, it's just not worth it.
I think one of the last things I said as well, I did mention Gunner, but obviously they covered that in the headline anywhere. The last thing I said is it would be nice to have maybe the NGS store for Europe or anywhere outside of America. Give us some options. That would be nice.
Yeah, I would hope so. I think that's probably something that's going to happen. They want to, but with recent things going on in the world, I wouldn't be surprised if that's had anything to do with things slowing down a bit. But
yeah, I did wonder if that was the reason they'd done the NGS store for America with everything going on. Mm-hmm. But it would be nice because, from what I understand, I think the rate's slightly better for ARKS cash on the NGS store.
Yeah,
you have better deals on the store itself. So like, yeah, we absolutely are getting it cheaper essentially, which is, in their defense, as far as what they've done so far with the store itself, that's the way it should work. Like, there's, we talked about this. Like, I know my stream talked about this, but like, a lot of times what happens is like, the regular prices are this, but like the other places are marked up instead. But since now it's, they have the regular prices, they haven't marked anything up. They just, brought better deals. They're kind of incentivizing you to use their store, which is the way it should work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because there's no middleman that takes a cut from their sale.
Exactly. So you shouldn't have to pay that extra amount. So.
Yeah.
Good to see that's happening.
Yes. So please bring that over here, SEGA. I would quite like to not pay as much for ARKS cash. Then I could buy more and give you more money.
Yeah,
see how
exactly.
Make it everywhere. Like, make it be a consistent thing all over the place. Because like, you can do fun things like, you can gift your friends AC if you need to, right? And make life easy.
Yeah, that's pretty much all for me.
On my end, it was mostly having them slow down a bit. I'm a firm believer in SEGA is quick to kind of, I don't want to say knee-jerk react a lot of times, but like they're quick to like hear what their like community wants from them consistently, and without thinking of like the consequences all the time, they just kind of push towards it immediately. And there are a lot of things that we're currently dealing with now that, not gonna like toot my own horn, but I warned us of like 3 years ago. I'm like, if this happens, we're gonna end up here. If this happens, we're gonna end up here. And now we're here, and I'm just kind of sitting, laughing at it, because it's painful. But it is what it is. You can't really do much about that. But my biggest takeaway from the entire thing was like to slow down content consistently. Like, it doesn't need to be a situation where we're doing something different every single month, like every single week. Maybe something that has more staying power or substance. Focus on things being fun more and more enjoyable to consistently do. Like, again, you know what? I told you it was going to happen. It already has. For example, divide quests that were around for a long time. That yes, they had a lot of variance to them, but like there was something you did for a long period of time, and you didn't have to worry about trying to do a new one every single week.
Yeah.
So
I think that
more staying power.
Moved a bit towards that with the Ultra Realm. I feel Ultra Realm's got a bit more staying power.
I do. I like it. I like a lot of what they've done with Alter Realm, but like I was also a little bit like disgruntled by the fact that they immediately kind of just invalidated it by forcing everyone in LTQ for like a week or two. And then now we're back to Alter Realm again. So like, okay, you're doing good, Sega. Stop it. Don't pivot off of that. But like, it was. I think the first real big shift, what I liked at first was Vile, the Vile fight, where Krez only dropped from Vile for a decent period of time. I would have liked for that to stay the same. That way it can stay relevant, and keep that relevance there. But like, there's a very big push on making sure everyone's able to get just about everything these days when it comes to PSO2. So like, I'm not surprised it shows up in other places. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. It was that, and I like the mini stories, but make the mini stories a bit more interactive. I think Kathy said it best the last podcast you guys had. The 2 cutscenes, not really enough. Like, I equate it similar to some previous stories from my chat, because a lot of times we talk about base PSO2 story, which I'm not saying base PSO story was bad. Base PSO story was bad. It was great in a lot of places, but what really made it great was a lot of the side content, things you found out about, like how certain characters came about, like how the hero class even became a thing, how other classes would come about, Katori and all of them, like all those different characters, like characters that weren't a part of the main storyline, how they interacted with the main cast. A lot of those stories made the story good. So mini episodes are a good idea, but beef them up a bit more, like give them some more substance, like maybe include a couple of quests in between. Not like quests we gotta run all over the place. Don't do the Ilma thing again because I want to strangle him. Please never do that again. But like maybe like an instance where like we enter a tournament arc. I don't know, something more substantial than like 2 cutscenes. I think they're starting that route. I think that's kind of a thing that they're already doing. So I'm like, more of that, please.
It would be nice to actually see them use some of the other characters in NGS, because there's tons of characters, say in Central City alone, that are just never used in story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It'd be nice to know just something about them.
It's too often do we go into like a combat zone, and you go into a zone itself in general where you get a trial and a character pops up and you're like, who is that? I'm like, huh? Like, listen to Aina Manon, I'm like, what? I don't really care, I guess. Actually, Aina Manon or Dozer most of the time. But like, it's whatever, not a big deal.
It's just kind of like pop pack.
Exactly. Like, those are kind of like my big takeaways. Oh, and my last one was add auxiliaries into the game. They made no sense in base PSO2, but make the most sense in NGS, and like just make it happen.
Yeah. Add some, I don't know, mobile game element to them. You can send them on some search for materials.
You can send them to pick up meat and all of the food mats that you need.
Pick up meat? Are they visiting a Digimon farm by any chance?
Yeah, exactly. Pick it up off the ground. Just, you grab it and put it in the pocket, dude, from like Digimon World 1. No, but like, we've always joked around that like auxiliaries made almost no sense back in base PSO2, because like after a while you just didn't send them out to gather stuff because you didn't need to. Yeah. But in NGS, they would be fantastic to go get all of like the food items you don't want to have to go farm yourself, if you could just send them out consistently. And then on top of that, you can just fashion them.
Yeah. That's something that I miss about auxiliaries. That like you have a second character with all your items to like dress up.
Yeah, you could like little cool like cosplay things with them if you wanted to or whatever.
Yeah,
it was always hilarious seeing like in base PSO2 a random auxiliary showing up and the abomination some people would create. And it was like, oh, sorry, master, I have this problem. And they just come running in and a bunch of enemies come running behind them. I'm like, you little bastard, what are you doing? Like just little things like that would fit so well. Like imagine you're farming deck space and like your friend's stupid auxiliary shows up as the trial. Like, and that's the thing. Like you get a little bit of a chuckle or a laugh or like, who's that person or whatever. Either that or like if you're farming and like, you could even go the route of treating it like similar to how Final Fantasy treats their chocobos, where they don't even count as like a space in parties anymore. So like in overworld and in overworld based content, your chocobo is just added damage for you. So like auxiliaries could be that in overworld, and like in the open world that's not utilized as much, where the balance doesn't matter as much. You could have your auxiliary with you out in the open world. That way you always have someone with you. Like that'd be awesome. I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was mostly my takeaway from the survey. And I want to see more for the EX styles. But that's just more me being excited.
What, you're not happy with the 5 seconds we got?
Hey, listen, they're never going to show us any more than what we have. Like, we always, like, me and my chat always dissect it and we slow it down and we're looking at every single individual frame or whatever, but like, it's never the right information. We always, like, we do this to ourselves because we have nothing to look at, and then like we get it on the day. I'm like, none of this stuff was in there. What is this?
I feel like they might talk a little bit more about it in the live headline.
Maybe. I think it may be the next headline or the headline after, so we're gonna hear it mostly.
Yeah. So my feedback was in a bullet point style because I wanted to say as many things as possible.
Fair.
So my first point is that exchange shops, for example Dreadscale, don't have enough valuable items to exchange for, which causes the material feeling useless. Like, oh, the quest gives me 5 Dreadscales, amazing, I don't need it. Another point was, please let me auto-sell junk material items, for example icicle cubes or stamina 1. It's like just bloating material storage for no reason. I would rather sell those automatically. Then another point was, please allow me to add tech arts customizations to the loadouts, because it's very annoying having to do them manually when I'm swapping to my deck space forming build. Another point is using multi-weapons with the current weapon/sub-bullet system is too difficult. I don't know how it is on other classes, but on Tector you literally have no room for a subclass weapon. I use a controller attachment that gives me like extra buttons, and I use those buttons for like weapon action or whatever, and that frees up 1 slot on my weapon palette, and I use it for my Talus. Any other weapon, I'm just fresh out of luck. I wish I could add a Soaring Blade PA and Pinion Blade, but that's 2 slots. I don't have that much room on my palette. So
you think you want Pinion, but you don't.
I do.
Everyone thinks they want Pinion until they actually Pinion.
I like number go big, even if it's 10% weaker than main class Pinion Blade.
It's nice on the rare occasion it works.
I was like, until it hits 1.
Yeah.
You want the time back.
But yeah, that's also my next point, is that multi-weapons feel weak because of the main class weapon bonus in regular quests. You know, I don't mind it in like ARKS records. That makes sense why you would have a main class weapon bonus. But in casual content, it's like, why are you punishing me for playing silly? That is very counterproductive in my opinion. Then another point, which probably is not very important anymore, is gunners feel weak in solo quests. I was trying to tell them that, hey, maybe long range advantage doesn't make sense on a class that wants to have aggro. Like, maybe reconsider that. And the next point is just like, or rather the next couple points are just like less gameplay important and more like set dressing important. Like, I would like a new CG intro for the game. I would like if the story was updating more frequently. Once every 2 months is a good pace, in my opinion. I would love if the story updates were more voluptuous. Bring back weapon flavor text, simply to flesh out the lore of the world. The lore, yeah. I do not understand why they got rid of this. Like, I know that basically no one paid attention to it in PSO 2, but those people who did pay attention to it, they loved this shit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I don't know why they got rid of it. It's especially since we have less weapons than we had in PSO 2. So I feel like it wouldn't be as much of a loadout to add like 2 or 3 sentences that explain like, oh yeah, this weapon is made out of Dark Falz's elbow or something. It's hyper concentrated photonazole. It hits really hard. Then the next one is, I would love to see the developers on headlines and live streams again. I would love to see an NGS anime set before the game. I would love to see an NGS offline spin-off video game, like Phantasy Star Nova or Phantasy Star Portable Infinity. That was pretty cool. And then the last couple of points was just me tickling their balls, basically. Thank you for doing such a good job with Tector and Force expansion, and thank you for your hard work with the game.
Of course, a Tector is thanking them. But I have to come clean. That point you made about the multi-weapon damage thing, that might actually be partially my fault.
What did you do?
A bit of lore into the Krono past. I had the opportunity, a very fun opportunity, to get to test not only JP but also global when the betas were going out, right? Like got keys and everything like that. And they asked for feedback. And one of the feedback things that we provided, that I specifically provided, very big, was that there were specific classes in the game that quite literally had almost no reason to exist as a main class. Things like Hunter, things like, in some cases, Fighter, where the bonuses that they brought as a class didn't really matter as much, so you had players playing alternative classes instead. You had obvious things like Force Hunter, and you had things like Tector Fighter, which I played most of the beta, because to be honest, you were better off just pressing Shift the D-band instead of actually using Fighter's buff. And like the next patch of the game may or may not have included a nerf to Shifta, as well as the inclusion of damage bonuses while you use your main class weapon. So I'm not saying it's my fault, but the feedback I gave was directly tied to it, so like monkey's paw curls, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
So it's your fault.
yeah, it's what I was like. I'm not saying I did it personally. However, I did bring that conversation up, and a lot of people kind of parroted that information.
Yeah.
So, oops. You don't know what you're asking for till it happens, I guess. But I do feel kind of bad because I forgot to mention this during my thing, and I should have. I know you're mentioning about multi-weapon palette space.
Yeah.
Just multi-weapons in general. I don't know why 2 classes in the entire game are punished for having 3 weapons.
Yeah, that too.
Like, hunters and fighters just have to be at a disadvantage while they have to have another weapon, while every other class in the entire game that wants the multi-weapon can multi-weapon pretty freely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why multi-weapons aren't 3 weapons yet. People are like, oh, well, that would be unbalanced. No, it wouldn't. Shut up. Like, it's fine. You're not making more than 1 weapon, and if you are, you're okay with this situation, so stop it.
Yeah, that would be a perfect situation for me, because now I can keep Talus multi-weapon and have soaring blades on my wand.
Yeah, if that's true. I
don't have the palette space for it, but I could.
I'm also thinking about the poor fighters that have to have an offhand double saber, and the poor hunters that have an offhand either sword or partisan.
There's like so many things they could do to improve palette space. I remember someone suggesting that you could either tie sub-pellets to your weapon pellets. Like, that would immediately fix so many of my issues with the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Or another alternative would be to like implement a alternative control mode, because if you're not near an interactable object, then the B button doesn't do anything, or the A button, depending on how you mapped your controller. So that button could be probably used somehow. They could probably make a button combination for some universal class skills. Like, we have the dive attack on jump at normal attack. So why couldn't we, for example, press both sticks to initiate compound technique or photon blast, whatever? Like that would just free up palette space that I desperately need as a Tector.
I mean, we literally had that in PSU. It was literally button combinations to do things like SUV weapons. So
yeah,
I don't understand why they haven't done it in NGS, honestly. It seems odd having to waste a palette slot for a photon blast that you use now and again.
Yeah.
What kills me is, like, I don't understand why we have the alt button, like an alternative or a button basically to swap to the back of your regular weapon palette, but that doesn't exist for the sub palette.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the button just also do the same thing to your sub palette? Like have the palette like have it slightly offset, like slightly down, so you can see what's on there. You can see the cooldowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like press the button and it kind of like flips it the same way it does for the regular. I don't understand. I like the idea that you mentioned though at the start, the one where it's like your weapons tied to the sub palette. Like that would be sick. That'd be so good. Because like you only have certain weapons you would use under certain circumstances with certain things. So like why not do that? But like also
even something like the sub palette would just immediately double the space you have.
Yeah, it'd be great. Unfortunately, as a controller player, you don't get to live the life that I do as a keyboard and mouse player, where I can just press 11 on my Naga and it flips my sub palette.
Yeah,
because I have it down to because it is you can't actually bind it to a button. That's a thing. It already exists in the game, so I don't know why they don't go further with it. They're just punishing controller player at that point.
I did do that with the Steam controller when I played on GP. I love the Steam controller, but it's absolute dog shit. It was such cheap plastic. I broke 2 of them in a single year, but the customizability it gave you was insane. I basically replaced the whole weapon swap thing you have on the controller, where it slowly goes through your weapon and sub palettes. I just completely threw that out of the window, and I used Steam input to create a weapon wheel. And I also juggled skill rings that way, because there were some scenarios where I didn't want to use the wand skill ring because I was fighting a light weak enemy, so it was basically pointless. And I also did like button combinations, like I press L4 and the face buttons that would immediately activate my compound techniques, and it's like super complicated, but it made Tector so much more playable in base PSO2, because you had like 20 different techniques you had to have constant access to, and this just fixes so many issues with it. Like, you have this fucking wand lovers, and the status effect buff on wands in PSO2 was for some reason it was an active skill, but it didn't have any duration or cooldown, so it just wasted palette space. I used this whole fucking weapon wheel thing to have a separate sub palette just for these 2 buttons, which I would swap at the start of the quest and then swap back to a different palette.
Oh, that's
which
right.
has
the sub.
Which has all the important buttons on it. It's like I shouldn't need to use a dogshit controller that breaks after 6 months to have such freedom with the control scheme.
I remember stances, like, and someone mentioned that to me today. They were like, how do you feel about stances? And I just remember now, like, having to toggle on specific stances at the start of a quest, and like you never turned it off. It was like, oh, this is just a wasted spot of a button that I could use for something else that I had on a different palette, and I would just like swap over to it, press it at the start of the quest, and then just swap over. And the day that they made the changes for like certain stances where you didn't have to toggle between the stances or whatever, it was either you had it on or off, and that's how it worked. I was like, thank God. I was like, I just want that button back. It's so worthless. You used to have like 2 stances and you could have both of them off, and I'm like, you would never have both of those stances off. Either it's one or the other. Why would you make them different buttons?
I'll do your one better. You activate your stance, you get hit during the activation animation, 5-minute cooldown.
Oh, that was so bad, man.
I love it. PSO2 was better. We're just grifters for liking newer Phantasy games. That's something I got accused of in the comment section yesterday. I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's got to be hilarious. It's something I've lived for quite some time. But apparently Sega's paying me a lot, and which is news to me, by the way. I was unaware.
We are all paid shills. Like the free premium and material storage, it pays for my bread.
Oh no, they said that I'm being paid separately than that. It's kind of funny.
Also, I wish.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to hear about people talking about the multi-weapon trick, as they called it? I made an entire video debunking.
What was that about?
So the theory was that if you made a multi-weapon where the main class weapon or the first weapon was a part of the main class, the subclass weapon or the weapon that was on the multi-weapon would also get the applied buff.
Yeah, that was never a thing.
It was never a thing, and I made an entire video proving it was never a thing. Because people were like, yeah, no, it totally works. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. And they're like, no, it totally does. I'm like, all right, well, yeah. Guess we'll go test this now. And this was before we had access to, of course, like DPS meters and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go test this crit against Bujin 1,000 times and see what comes up. And yeah, no, it very, very obviously does not work that way.
Yeah. We got a new headline, this time finally about the anniversary, which was delayed by a month. And let's see. This time we're gonna get Shiva and Luthor outfits, which is nice. I saw many people excited for it. I have one friend who is like a massive Shiva simp, and for like 2 years I was telling them, yeah, 13th anniversary is gonna be when we get Shiva. And they're like, okay, tell me when that happens. So I messaged them like, here you go.
Here's Shiva. No, it's pretty cool. I'm not sure if you guys know that, or that X page that is all about Luthor, but I'm sure they're losing their minds right now.
Yeah. the ear wiggles person. We're gonna have a bunch of campaigns during this period, which is nice. Or we're gonna get a super treasure scratch. You know, I kind of wish treasure scratch was just permanent and would refresh every month.
Yeah.
Just to have like something worth doing urgent quests for. Because when there is no treasure quest, they just feel so pointless.
Yeah, it's kind of an annoyance. I kind of want a mix of the way treasure scratch used to work and the way it works now. Because it used to be a kind of a way to introduce old items and like old outfits and things like that hadn't been brought into the game for a while. Hairstyles and accessories, things like that. And now it's just like full of currency. Which, to be fair,
you're thinking of reward box.
Oh, I'm thinking reward box, not treasure scratch. You're right. My bad.
Which we're also gonna get.
Yeah, I was thinking of reward boxes, but yeah, no, the treasure scratch. Yeah, you're right. It is much better to have it around and actually give a reason to run urgent quests more often.
Yeah.
What you mean? You don't like running really slow Darkfall Solus?
I think collectively we all hate Solus, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I might be projecting.
I like Malignant Solus.
Yeah,
regular Solus.
I like Malignant Solus. It wastes less time. I also like the soundtrack, but I don't like Solus so much.
Just because it's faster. I just don't like Solus, man. I didn't like Solus regular. I don't like. I mean, Malignant Solus is better because it is faster. It's a faster fight. It's more. It's a bit more punishing, and I like the attacks a bit more. But like, I just didn't like Solus collectively.
That's because of all the pinion blade, just like.
Oh, 1 damage feels bad. It's that, and like you're married to pressing Falcon. You don't get to press any other buttons.
We're also gonna get a PSO2 campaign where you have to play story, which I feel like many people still want to.
It's crazy how often I hear about how good base PSO2 is. People still haven't gone back to do 90% of the things they've talked about doing.
Yeah.
Problem is, I did story on Japanese PSO2. I really don't want to go through it again. It's too long, man.
I did it twice. I've done it twice already. I did it on JP and I did it on Global. I did it on Global when it came up.
I don't know how much time I spent cumulatively in story, because during episode 1 through 3, I lost 2 accounts on GP. So I did the story once until the Seabed chapter of episode 2. Then on a new account, I did the story once until like the Kuron region of episode 3. That was still when we had matterboards, so it was a long-ass grind. Yeah, and then I did the story again when they announced that they were removing matterboards. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get every single reward so I don't miss out on it. And then once they removed matterboards, they were like, you know what, you're gonna get the rewards anyway. Here you go. So I got them twice technically. Nice.
Yeah, I ran through all of story matterboarded when when I played JP, so I've done matter boards, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That is not a fun time.
I did it once, and that was by far enough.
Especially before they introduce all the quality of life improvements. Like, I talked about it during my recap video, but basically, in the original form of the matter boards, you had to enter a quest, do what they wanted you to do, usually interact with a golden node, and then you would have to finish the quest before your matter board would update. So even if you had multiple steps that told you to find a node in a quest, you had to finish the quest, start a new one, then find another node, finish the quest, find another node, and a matter board that looks like it would take like 10 minutes to complete suddenly took up 2 hours.
Yep.
And then you
matter
also
boards were basically sophisticated scavenger hunts.
Yeah, and then you also had like matter boards that requested you to have specific rare drops from boss enemies, which was super cancer.
Yeah.
But yeah, nowadays the story is very accessible. I still prefer the anime, how it did episode 1 to 3. But yeah, the reward for the completing the story is receiving a scratch ticket for every PSO2 block scratch. And if we're gonna take it literally, that means like 8 different prize slips tickets. So
which is awesome.
Yeah, if they do that, it'll be nice, because especially if you're trying to min-max, like actually make bis gear on PS2 blocks, you're kind of forced to wail a lot on the AC scratch. So I hope they mean it literally, that we get for every scratch a select ticket.
That'd be really good, like for sure. And I think the best part about it though is if you've already completed it, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I have not completed it.
Sounds like someone should get to work.
I did it once on the Japanese side. I don't know if I can bring myself to do it again.
There were some quests I enjoyed. I did so much on global. The moment they said it was going to be on parity with JP, I was like, okay, I never have to worry about this again. Like, that was always the thing in the back of my mind when I played JP. I was like, off chance it eventually comes to global, or we move things over. It's like there's certain things like I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But then like as soon as they said parity and that's going to continue forward, I was like, yep, I never have to do this. Never have to worry about it again. I literally leveled to 75 on the Xbox, like maxed all my characters. By the time the game came out on like PC, everyone's like, oh, I can play, I can level. I was like, I can help you. It's like, I'm already done. I did this already.
Yeah, that was my initial problem with global, because I actually bought an Xbox One to play it from the day it was released, like soft launch from open beta to release. But then I was hit with the realization that I have to farm advanced quests and ultimate quests. I'm like, I was done with this 5 years ago. I don't want to do this again. So I took a break from global until they announced episode 5 was coming. Because for me, that is a very nostalgic time period for PSO2. I enjoyed my time on global very much when that was going on. It's also kind of funny to see how global players reacted to some of the features that JP players absolutely hated, because they had to deal with the version of Buster Quest that had absolutely no quality of life improvements. When Buster points capped at 3,000 and a single disconnect meant you lost your privilege to play Grade 3+, or when the whole grade system had a stamina meter, so you had to play free match after free main match Buster Quest.
Yeah, I remember those.
I also remember how during the episode 5 launch campaign, they actually gave you like consumable items that recovered stamina. That was the single one time they gave you these items. So if you held on to these, you probably have like the rarest item in the game right now. And yeah, on global, people were playing Buster Quest even though Enchanted Forest came out and was objectively better, which I found so funny, because like, if you don't know about the whole history of episode 5, then yeah, it makes sense you would play Buster Quest, but yeah, most global players weren't aware. So even though there was an objectively better area to farm, people were still farming Buster Crests. So I enjoyed that a lot. And yeah, episode 5 was also like when they started rolling out some of these updates that I think should have been on launch. I absolutely hated how they delayed technique customizations until episode 4 released, but skill rings and mining and gathering, that was available on launch, even though that's technically episode 4 content.
Yeah.
Because like if you're playing a technique class, you're basically missing like 50% of your damage without tech customizations. I found that so jarring as a Tector player.
Yeah, playing Bouncer with what was it? With Kestrel at without having the crafted version of it was an experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great one.
Yeah, even like jet boots, like, oh, what do you mean it's not a held PA anymore? There's a lot of things I wish Global did different. For example, release sooner with a slower content cycle. Because I feel like a lot of people got really spoiled with the PS2 Global content cycle.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Which made NGS a little bit too much of a wake-up call. Which
Yeah, there was a level of expectation that was there that just wasn't really realistic.
Yeah.
Which I understood, like where people were coming from when it came down to like the type of content that they had, but there was also like a level of dealing with, I'd say, the downtimes or the bad times a bit. Like people just didn't really have that sort of concept in Phantasy Star when they were playing. Like I remember playing episode 3 of Global and talking to friends like, yeah, this is just so much fun. I'm like, and this is the part where it sucks. I'm like, just wait till it gets to the other stuff where it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember playing that for a long period of time, and I'm like, yeah, this was fun at first, but like, this is getting really boring. And like, most people, they just either didn't hit that point, or if they weren't having a good time, they just didn't play the game for like maybe a week or two, and then suddenly exactly what they wanted was there.
Yeah.
And that's not the case for usual content releases of anything nowadays.
Yeah. Like with NGS especially, we have like one content month and one off month, which some people don't like, but I personally think it's pretty healthy to have like one month where if you're done with everything you wanted to do, you can just chill.
Yeah.
Especially for like content creation, I really appreciate that, because if I had to grind how I grinded PSO2 with also making videos, I would probably not have the time to do it.
Yeah, I definitely utilized the fact that I had a lot of information ahead of time to my advantage with making content with base PSO2, because it made life a lot easier.
Yeah.
There were things people grinded for. I was like, there's no reason to grind for that. What do you mean? I was like, you don't have to. You just give it a week.
Yeah. I feel like Global in general was like that, because like by the time Global came out, I think JP already had like at least divide quests. Yeah, because it was during COVID, so divide quests were already out. And I think the only weapon series that came after divide quests was Cross, which was literally the final weapon series in the game.
Yeah, JP basically got their final weapon series by the time Global released. I believe they might have gotten a little bit before, if I remember correctly.
It was a little bit after.
I remember getting my my weapon on JP, and I remember officially swapping completely over to Global. It might have been a similar time frame. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but yeah, no, it's a very different feel that we experience as Global players that people just aren't really accustomed to. And it's even less of like having a good thing to have like one month on, 1 month off. I don't think there's any games right now that are healthy that want you to play 24/7. Where I know a lot of players do want to have to play 24/7. Yeah. But I just don't think that's a healthy way for any game to exist in a way that's going to be like player driven or player focused.
Yeah, it's actually insane to see almost the exact same discourse that NGS had for so long happen in real time in Final Fantasy 14. Because like people blasted through all the legacy content during COVID, and now they have to deal with the realization that the patch cycle is actually pretty slow. Which isn't a bad thing, you know? Like, Yoshi P champions the idea that if you're done with the game, go play something else. He literally jokes about, like, oh, you have 2 weeks to finish Monster Hunter before you come back to Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's a lot of people that have, like, the concept where they're... Because, like, I'm an avid 14 player, still play 14 a ton, I love it. Just recently got back to it again. But, like, there's people like, oh, well, you know, that concept of, like, go log into something else is ruining the game. It's like, yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. And they're also making strides for this to be better in 14 as well, where their content cycles and their content patches don't apply to everyone. Yeah. But on top of that, like, they're trying to make it so that they more often apply to more people. Not make it apply to everyone, but, you know, instead of 10 things releasing and, like, for most people, 3 things matter, depending upon the type of player you are, they want it to be more like 7 or 8 things matter to you more as an individual, which is a good thing to have. Yeah. But again, it's a cycle that people need to understand is like, it's okay to play something else. And I think that's something that kind of gets overlooked a little too often in current generation, but we have so many games, dude. Like, there's so much to play. I kind of am happy that PSO2 does, like, as much as I want to play PS2 all the time, I'm kind of happy that it kind of has this current content cycle because I wouldn't have time to play anything else.
Yeah.
COA wouldn't be a thing, Monster Hunter wouldn't be a thing, like, tons of games just I wouldn't have time.
And, like, sometimes they're not even, like, ignoring it, or they rather demonize it, which I find extremely weird. Like, oh, you take a break from PSO2 because you're burnt out, which is a thing that happens with every single online game ever. How could you? You betrayed the game. Like, what? That's nonsense.
Like, my favorite is, did you quit? And I just played one other game for like a day. It's such a common thing to see every single day. Yeah, I get people all the time like, oh, in the craze is, oh, did you quit playing CO or playing Crystal Valen? No, dude, I logged into Monster Hunter. Okay. Like, I'm still playing. Like, we're still playing 14. We're still playing PSO2. Like, we're playing plenty of things, more games than we should be playing, to be fair.
Yeah.
What you mean? You don't play the same game every single day?
No, never. Literally never.
Imagine playing your favorite game every single day for the rest of your life. Like, that would make me absolutely hate that game.
It wouldn't be your favorite game anymore.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite RPGs ever is Grandia on the PS1. I replay it like maybe once every 2 years. I have my 40 hours of Blast, and then I put it away for another 2 years. And I think that's how it should be. That's how I treat Final Fantasy 14. I played through the story, then I let it sit for 2 years, let the wine age a bit, and then come back, blast through the story again, and do repeat. Like, that's how I enjoy 14 the most.
Everyone has a different way of playing. I know there's some people that really look for their one game they want to play all the time. And a lot of times those people don't have time to play other stuff. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But like, I think games that ever look at trying to get you to log in all of the time, it's only a matter of time before they start utilizing practices that are going to be bad for the game.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately.
I watched a video from some YouTuber. I don't remember the name anymore. But it was a really good video. It talked about 14. And one of the quotes that like really stuck to me from that video is that the best kind of MMO isn't a MMO that keeps you playing all the time. It's an MMO that gives you a reason to return back to it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's like the best way of framing the genre. Because like WoW for a while tried to like basically force you to log in every single day and give you like 20 different dailies and weeklies to take care of, and to the point where it feels like a chore, and people really hated that expansion. I wonder why.
Yeah, no, I've always been a proprietor of dailies and weeklies aren't an issue. The issue is the rewards that are provided for them. And once those rewards are specific only to those dailies and weeklies, do they become a problem?
Yeah.
Because if you just get a burst of something that you can get all the time, then you're rewarding someone for doing their dailies and weeklies. If you make it, they can only get that thing from that daily and weekly, then you're punishing them for not doing it.
Yeah.
They're now falling behind. And that's something that a lot of games, unfortunately, has kind of lost. Like, people have lost the concept of, because they hear dailies and weeklies and they immediately think, like, oh, this is going to be terrible, because that's kind of what they've experienced for a long time. But that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You can do dailies and weeklies right. To be honest, they're kind of what makes you want to sometimes play, is to get that extra boost of, like, stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I feel that NGS does that really well with the dailies for NGS, because they don't take long to do. It's just a good source of money if you do them towards the weeklies.
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't take you much time to do it. You know, was it a few minutes a day to do the dailies? It's really not long.
Yeah, the dailies are basically like log in, eat an apple, pet your region mag, kill 50 dudes in a combat sector, and I think that's it, actually.
It's you have people in the combat sector, run Lucille, which no one ever does.
Oh yeah, pick up
then,
5 carrots. That was another one.
Also,
Use
kill
raging
some
mag as
enemies
well,
in
I think.
Nameless.
Yeah.
So-
I basically skipped the Lucille one right now because there's no reason to run it.
There's no reason to
Yeah.
Lucille.
Literally no reason.
Yeah. Which I wish there was like stuff in the Groveman exchange that I actually want, which is why I put the feedback that I want more stuff in the exchange shops, because I have so much stuff that is fucking useless. I still I still exchange my Infernium because I actually get X cubes from it. That's like more useful than anything else for me. But like all the other exchanges are just junk.
Funny enough, you mentioned Dread Scales earlier. Yeah, I use that for feeding the region mag, actually. 10 Dread Scales is 400 every time.
Damn.
I've got 5,000 of them.
You know what? Maybe that's the meta.
Time to start using my dread skills.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know you could feed them to the region mag, to be honest.
I did know, because sometimes you have to feed them all by yourself, because it was like, oh, we wanna do daily Dalian, but the fucking Quirus region mech is not fed. And we really need that 5% bonus for our party. So, yeah, here you go, 999 photon chunks.
It works out very, very well.
Yeah. Let's get back on track with the headline. They did announce a new N-Meseta scratch, which contains old and new PSO2 items. And you can purchase tickets from the treasure shop. I do wonder if this is like a time exclusive stuff or if it's permanent. Because it would be a pretty nice Meseta sync, I assume, if it had like stuff you actually want from it. Especially, I don't know when I read this, but apparently they're focusing on like the fun scratch items from PSO2, which a lot of them were never re-released. So that could be cool. We didn't get much info on that one, unfortunately. I'm gonna have
the way they talked about it, and it was the way that was. And this could also be like a translation situation as well.
Yeah.
Was that the N-Meseta scratch as well as the free AC scratch, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a moment. If those scratches were supposed to be, they're gearing to not only do those more in the future, or I say not only that they're trying to do this now, but to also do them more in the future. So I'm not sure, like, they mentioned it at the same time as they mentioned the N-Meseta scratch. I'm not sure if it was like, again, a translation thing, or if that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. And also, I appreciate that the free AC scratch has 100 free draws, because a scratch that's almost exclusively filled with PSO2 spec items would not sell at all. So
No, never.
So the
No,
100 free draws are very appreciated. I hope I can get the acrylic Maltoy stand. Okay, so next up is we're gonna get a Glenn and Crawford mini episode. I found it so funny when this was shown, because recently I made that whole meme with them having an affair during another's concert on Twitter, and then
Yes.
and then they show the clip of Ash finding them, and I'm like, oh no.
What have you done?
I materialized it into the game. yeah, you're checking Hibana's grave. Sure. I bet you weren't making out behind that rock.
Please don't feed people's yaoi addiction or their fanfic addiction, please.
No, I am going to feed it. I need to see more art of it.
Okay, well now you've spawned art of it because you've mentioned it. But I saw that and I was like actually pretty excited because it kind of goes into the same thing I said for feedback. Like we need to see more of these characters. We need to be more invested in them. Like
Yeah.
again, more substance of course, but like we need to care more. You know.
Yeah. I do hope they do more with some of those more underutilized characters, because, like, for example, for the Quares quintuplets, basically only Ilma and Mary exist. The other three are not used at all.
As far as I'm concerned, only Mary exists. Ilma is forever in the doghouse after making me run all over Alpha for the stupidest reasons ever.
What, you don't want to check out this rock?
Can you go kill these random enemies? Can you go look at this rock over here? Now kill these enemies. Now look at this rock instead. I was like, Ilma, if you send me one more place, I swear to God, you're done.
You're not invited to my birthday anymore.
Exactly.
Is off the list.
Malignant Vial limited time urgent quest is going to be so funny.
Oh no.
There's going to be so many corpses. I'm looking forward to that.
Am I the only person who wants them to not reduce his damage and his health and just remove the death limit? Like, I think it's totally fine for people to get absolutely domed by Malignant Vial. The same way we did by regular Vial. Like, I think if watching people die to that is totally reasonable. Especially if there's no death limit. Like, you should just feel like someone has to res you.
I just want to see how people handle the Fortnite building part with 8 people.
Nightmare.
It's going to be a disaster.
I'm so building my own little houses by myself. When I do the urgent quest, I refuse, dude. I don't trust anyone.
Yeah, it's like playing Mario Party. You just develop such trust issues. The 2 LTQs they have planned for this anniversary are not Beach Wars and not Ultimate Lilipa, which was so funny because I was watching the live stream on my phone, and then they just showed the second LTQ, which was Dryzen Plant, but with different lighting. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, that's Lilipa, what the fuck?
I also thought exactly the same.
Yeah.
I looked at that, and when I was talking in my chat, I was like, hang on, this quest type feels familiar. I was like, this speaks of old Phantasy Star design. And now you say Ultimate Lilith, I was like, that's what it is. I remember going in circles on the giant highway. Yep.
But it's totally on purpose because they revived Goizora's enemy for it, which I'm looking forward to. It's probably gonna be very nostalgic. And
for sure.
And with not Beach Wars, we have a giant ship, which I found so cute.
Yeah, definitely not Beach Wars, 100%.
Yeah, as well with like, they actually made like some new terrain for the LTQ, which is cool because it means we're not forced to old locations for LTQs anymore. But I also kind of wish that terrain remained forever.
I mean, it can be used again in future content. So
Yeah.
I mean, now it exists, right?
So, and another quest they announced is the trigger quest for Rene Diohunal, and I'm gonna say it right out of the gate. I believe this is going to be the next dual quest that we're gonna get, because they overhauled that enemy so much. It's like basically a different boss.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people remember, but in PSO2 Hunal was like basically a nothing boss. Like it would get 2 attacks out before it would die. And, and now it has like a unique spawn animation, has new attacks, it attacks faster. It's like, it will absolutely be the next dual quest.
Yeah, because in like base PSO2, it was basically like the equivalent to something like Falls Here Now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
like that kind of level. But it just seemed like they've pushed it a lot further than that for NGS.
Yeah. Also find it a little bit like I'm starting to ask some questions, because the first extra dual quest was the forgotten Persona host, and now the second dual quest is going to be the original Persona. If they make another dual quest that's just Persona themed, I'm gonna start asking some real questions. What the fuck is going on?
I mean, the previous dual quests. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel exactly about it. I looked at Hunel and I was like, I like everything about this except for the setting. Like, the setting seems real weird. We're just kind of just in North Alio. It's like, this is a little awkward, and like, they couldn't have put a tint on the area maybe or something. But I mean, it is what it is. But just looking at the boss, I don't know. It's interesting to see what they decided to do. Plus, wasn't Hunel like a form of another boss as well, or am I thinking of a different boss?
Yeah, there was basically the Matoi version of Hunel.
Yeah,
and
VL Huner, I think.
Yeah, VL Huner, and
That's it.
Dio Hunel is the Persona version, basically.
That's what it is. I don't remember if this version didn't resist anything, right?
No.
Okay, I was like, it'd be funny to see that mechanic come back again and watch people actually lose their minds.
Yeah,
Imagine you switch these different weapons.
it would actually incentivize people to use multi-weapons, yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, people were like, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you could. Multi-weapons are a thing. They're like, what about, or everyone was like, what about Slayer? I was like, yeah, multi-weapons are a thing.
Yeah,
like, you know, Lester had to deal with it too. It just didn't apply to them.
Yeah. It's like, that's something that I remember Uber wanted to bring up in the Waker interview. I don't know if you guys still planning it. But he meant to bring up how it's unfair that certain classes need to make a multi-weapon to have both of their weapons, and then there's Waker and Slayer who just have one weapon and they can ignore the system entirely. So
yeah,
if we had a system like that where you have to use multi-weapon to get through resistances, that would be nice.
it would be a weird place to be in, because like on one hand, do you have classes require all their weapons? On the other hand, is it fair for classes that only have one weapon to not require this system?
Yeah.
Do you force them to use a weaker weapon? Like, how do you deal with that? I think they just honestly are just side skirting the entire concept, and I don't blame them because I can't think of a good way to balance that out. I feel like it'd be, at one point it would suck versus another. So
yeah. Speaking of Waker, Waker expansion is going to happen. And I have absolutely no clue how the new skill is going to impact the class. They also didn't go much into detail.
As they usually
As
don't.
usual.
Yeah. Hey, check out this new skill. Anyway, next slide. I am glad to see that Fighter and Gunner apparently are getting more than just quality of life improvements. They actually seem like they're getting the second part of their expansion that was missing for some reason.
I'm afraid that Gunner and Fighter are going to be in a position that they no longer feel as though they've been ignored. That is what my hope is for.
Yeah.
Now the cynical part of me is like, I just don't want to hear Fighters or Gunners yelling about that they didn't get their buff anymore. It's not always, the grass is not always greener. JetBlue mains would love to have a talk with you. So
Yeah.
trust me when I say. But yeah,
Most people forget JetBoots exist, to be honest.
No, I think Sega might have as well, to be honest. But no. But for a lot of people, they feel as though their weapon has been forgotten. I've always told people that, hey, look, one weapon's got to be first, another weapon's got to be last. Not all happening at the same time, and as much as I would love for them to, it delays the entire process substantially longer. We had that happen back in base PSO2 when the giant rebalancing of every class happened due to that of Hero, and it was awesome, but it took till like almost the end of episode 5. So we spent a lot of time existing as what we called a detriment, because if you weren't a hero and you weren't the one Tector and the one Ranger, if you were anything other than those three things, you were a detriment. You weren't a class. So it was pretty bad.
Yeah, and Hero actually didn't receive the level 85 cap for a while, just like give normal classes a little bit of breathing room. So yeah, the class balance was bad, and that's something that a large portion of my video actually covers, because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation floating around how episode 5 actually was, because like it's really not that complicated. Hero was just busted, and the developers were defending it for way too long. We're gonna get a new legend weapon and the upgrade for the Juvolk weapon, and I'm actually like really looking forward to the Juvolk upgrade because it looks gorgeous. All the unique gem colors, and I would imagine the color variant will probably reflect the gem colors, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Didn't they say something like the gem colors reflect the class that uses it or something?
Yeah, they do. Like the sword for Hunter is red, because Hunter has a red icon, and then the bow is green because Braver is green, and the Force Rod is yellow. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, I want to see more. I kind of miss class-specific things like that. I still have it too to this day. I still use it all the time. I was very much a proprietor of someone who enjoyed the class-specific emblems and icons that you had.
Yeah.
And I carried mine over from base PSO2. I still wear my my bouncer patch all the time. That was something I thought was really, really cool that existed back in base, and I want to see more things similar to that exist in NGS, and the idea of it being color-specific to your class, I think, is just really cool.
Yeah. Like class cosmetics in general, I really enjoy. Sometimes when I show off the Tector emblem, I get questions like, oh, where did you get it from? And I'm like, you need to play base. There's this one specific quest where this ticket drops, and it's really cool. It's a bit of a bummer that the Summoner one doesn't match Waker anymore. Just gotta use Kuna's version, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
And we also got 2 new EX augments, which are a little bit funny, because one of them synergizes with Maintain Balance a little bit too well.
And it might be my new combination I'm going for.
Yeah. And the other one is basically like Hero Boost as a skill.
No, I was just saying, I didn't really look into the 2 new EXs that much, because again, it was one of these things where they showed it for about 2 seconds and I had no time to read them.
Yeah, so okay, one of them is basically like you get 1.5% potency for 20 seconds when you take 9% of your max HP as damage. Which,
okay.
if you have Maintain Balance, you basically take 10% damage every time you're above 50%.
Yeah.
And after those 20 seconds, you get healed for 10% HP, which forces Maintain Balance to deal 10% damage again, so the cycle continues. And
yeah, that maybe a little bit good.
yeah. And then the other one is basically the main potency is a little bit smaller, but every time you parry or dodge an attack, you gain 1% damage, up to 3%. And when you take damage, that buff resets. So it's basically Hero Boost.
Okay, yeah.
Died in 2021, born in 2025. Welcome back, Hero Boost. And in perfect hero, in perfect hero grace, it is now, I think, one of the strongest buffs in the entire game for our EX augments.
Yeah, if you can maintain it, it's like 8%, which is insane.
From one EX augment slot that you don't need anything else to activate. It does it on its own as long as you're dodging,
yeah,
or blocking. Which is basically unheard of at this point. Usually anything that's really good, you require having some secondary bonus that has to apply to it to help it out.
Yeah.
Maintain balance shortage HP situation. But this is like, if anything, this is probably the strongest like third EX augment slot you can get, hands down. Like,
yeah.
They basically gave us two really, really good third EX augment slots. There's a lot of really good combos, but like you have to like decide what you want your third to be. These are both really strong third slots, hands down.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. gonna have to update some of my builds.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go shortage HP, maintain balance, and the one that that procs whenever you take 10% HP in your damage. So that's pretty interesting.
Another thing that I was really excited about is they showed the new Line Strike cards, and they were about Idola characters, which I didn't expect at all. Especially since they actually did them like really well. They actually implemented the Fate Divergence mechanic from Idola into the card game, so a single Idola card technically is like 3 different cards, which is insane. And we're also gonna get a new Crawford card, which was long overdue. That's probably something only I really care about. I don't know if you guys play Line Strike.
Not a huge amount, really, no.
No.
I like that it's there. I just am not big brain enough to like get behind the decks just yet. Like I'm very small brain when it comes to card games, but like I appreciate the meta. I appreciate like, you know, watching the matches, kind of understanding what's happening. And the way they did the Idola cards is really, really cool. Like sticking to like the theme of how they work. Specifically, it makes me kind of excited for future cards, because if they're going to do Idola like this, where they're like kind of lore accurate to how they actually work, and for anyone who didn't play Idola and doesn't understand what we're talking about, essentially each character had 2 different forms, Law and Chaos.
Yeah.
And depending upon the route you decided to go for those characters, you would either get the Law form or the Chaos form, which is almost like kind of like a good and evil, but not exactly. You get like a lighter form color and a darker form version of the character themselves. So every character had basically 3 forms. Overall, like their base, their Law, and their Chaos form. And of course, their Chaos forms and Law forms like evolved. But in the card, what they're doing for Line Strike is whenever you place a card in a specific slot, depending upon the slot you put it in, it can either stay the same, transform into the Law form, or transform into the Chaos form with different effects. And like, it's a little like, it seems a little like not all that complicated or crazy, but like it's that small attention to detail specifically for those cards that are huge for the players who understand Idola. And I just think it's a really cool mechanic in general.
I really, really wish I could have played Idola. I never got a chance to play it.
You were missing out.
It was fun. It was a bit of a headache from time to time. But
Yeah.
It was fun. I still maintain that I pray for the day that they actually give us Chaos Jasper again in NGS spec, because when we finally got another Idola scratch, they gave us Jasper, but they gave us Law Jasper. They're, in my opinion, the worst version looking of him. That may or may not be because I used the Jasper Innerwear for my entire outfit selection back in base PSO2.
Another thing they're doing with Line Strike is they will start to implement card skins into the quest loot, which I'm kind of surprised they haven't done that from the get-go. But yeah, Harriet, Matoy, and Io will have, and Seraphy will have a swimsuit version that drops in the specific limited time quests. So I'm really looking forward to that, because it means they will find ways to use all the PSO2 TCG artwork that they're still sitting on in the game. Oh yeah, Tufu collab was announced, and I don't know if you guys paid attention to it, but this tweet blew up for the Play PSO2 account. Last time I checked it, it had like 5,000 likes, and I tried to see like, okay, what other tweet blew up this much for the account before? And I scrolled all the way down to December when they did the Merry Christmas artwork announcement, and it only cracked 1,000 likes. So people are going crazy over this collab announcement.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not a big Toho fan. Like, you know, it's awesome. I respect people are really excited for it. I think it's more of on the content side of things. People had to edit their videos that included anything to do with Toho stuff. They had to remove the music completely, because I did. YouTube tried to nuke me from orbit if it included anything with Toho in it.
I'm just very, very excited for Bad Apple, but I'm not very excited that it's a scratch bonus.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt.
They knew
what they were doing.
Yeah.
That was a business decision. Not one that I'm happy with, but like I understand it.
Yeah, definitely.
I also kind of expected it, and yeah, it's here, It's in the scratch card bonus. So next up would be the letter from the developers and the community question, not community questions, the developer questions that we had. Some of them are very interesting. So the letter of the developers basically like explained all their intentions with the anniversary campaign and stuff. And the questions were very interesting because a lot of them end with more details in the next headline, which is odd because the next headline would technically cover an off month, like without a patch. So are they gonna go through the same questions again, or what? Or maybe are we getting another patch next month? Maybe, I don't know.
Or are they just dropping a big reveal next time to go into things a bit more?
That's also possible.
There's no precedent anymore. Like, that's something we've talked about a lot. Is like, it used to be that you could kind of guess what was coming all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of knew what was going to happen, but like they've kind of subverted that expectation a lot recently.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if it means that, hey, we're going to have like a reveal that's coming up for you. I don't know if it means that, hey, we're going to answer these questions more in detail next time. I don't know if it means that, hey, we've got this live thing that we're doing where it's going to have a lot of that information and we're going to talk about it in the next headline instead. So look for more details there. Like, all of those things are valid and possible, but that's the problem, is they're all possible. So I don't know what they're going with this time around.
It would actually be crazy if they like dropped a teaser for what they haven't planned for the next year, and the teaser is like, oh, episode 2. Like, what?
I've always said, like, Sega likes to play things close to the vest. They don't tell us a whole lot. They will cook on their own and say nothing while getting clowned by the entire community. Yeah. But when they cook, it's pretty good. So like, I would like to see what's going on.
And if you want to give us a teaser of the PSO anniversary event, please do.
The giant Rappy subjugation. Yeah, that could also be nice. I do know they have like the voice actors for Aina, Manon, and Dozer there. So yeah, I wonder what it's going to be. I also wonder how much of that live headline they're gonna show in the next one.
And how much global we'll get to see as well.
Yeah, that's also like very interesting to think about, because like we had this whole headline set up for 4 years now, and this is the first time they're trying to do something unique. So I wonder if they're like trying to have a community event so that JP players feel a little bit more special, while also trying to keep the global players informed. Which
that's a big part. Keeping us informed as well.
Yeah, which is also something I covered in my video, that like this whole headline setup is not a budget constraint. It's not because of COVID. They're just doing it so that global and GP players are informed at the same time. Which I had someone try to argue with me on Reddit that that's not the case, even though I provided him the link to the interview where Hero says it verbatim that that's the reason.
Yeah, people don't realize how important that actually is for a lot of players. Like, not only does it cause discourse while you're not informed at the same time, it also breeds this level of like of dismiss. Like, global players are very quick to feel like they're not being listened to, or that they aren't cared about when it comes to information and context. And it happens a lot in a lot of games, unfortunately, where there's a heavy emphasis on like JP gets the information first, right? Like we're finding out about it later, or they haven't addressed it for us, or they haven't told us. It's this very big thing. So being informed at the same time, or very close to the same time, is massive. Massive for content when it comes, or not content, but for information when it comes to understanding. So
and I also personally feel like people give the devs a bad rap simply because their specific feedback is not being answered during these sections, because there's a lot of questions I saw over the years where I'm like, I've read that exact thing on the official Discord server, and I see people on Twitter being like, huh, who asked this? Huh, they're just making up questions. Like, no, this was asked specifically by a player, I can assure you.
Yeah, like we have those questions, and like even when we go over the questions today, I'm gonna like there's a question where I'm like, okay, this feels cherry picked, but like there are people like, who would ever ask that? And I'm like, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Be around content creation long enough, and you find that people ask a lot of questions, very interesting ones.
This time the questions I think were all pretty good. We had one that's like, scratch tickets and reward box medals in storage are easily forgotten. Are there any plans to fix this? And they said like they're planning to make it so that you can use scratch tickets from your storage, which is good, because I know many players who have forgotten to use their prize slip tickets, and especially recently with the Sonic anniversary, I saw a lot of people who are like, I have 39 tickets in my storage and I forgot to use them.
I feel attacked, but you know, that's besides the point.
Oh.
Yeah, I also always forget to use mine, so...
My entire chat collectively were like, oh, that was a question for you. And I was like, how about you shut up? But yeah, using them from storage would be really good, because a lot of times you want to get that stuff out of your inventory. Like, you just toss it into your storage and like you forget that it's there, and you got to come back around for it later on. So no, I totally understand, and that's actually a really good thing.
Yeah.
And you come back to it about 3 months after it's expired.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's pretend like that's not there. Sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those questions where they said more details in the next headline wave. So I wonder what's that going to be about.
That might just be their buzzword right now. Who knows? they might just be baiting the next headline.
Please look forward to it.
Oh, yes, the old please look forward to it as a 14 player. Beautiful.
Okay, next question was, can you make it so that we can save more than 40 creative space designs? And the question this was basically no, which I can understand because those are server side, but I think they could probably allow us to save more designs if they made it client side, but I can also understand why they don't want to do it, because 14 does a lot of client side stuff, and it actually got into a pretty heated controversy recently because of it. For those of you who don't know, they recently changed their block list to be client side, and somebody made a plugin to read that data, and it basically allowed people to dox each other or something like that, all of their old characters, which caused the exact opposite of what the block feature is supposed to do.
Essentially, people use something that was supposed to be to protect someone to harass them instead. So you know.
Yeah.
So, have you ever think to yourself, why wouldn't you just give this to the players? Like, because a lot of times they can't be trusted, unfortunately. And like, is the reality is like, yeah, I know you're not a terrible person, and like, I'm not a terrible person, but there's a lot of terrible people out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can understand why they're not doing it. It's unfortunate. Let's see. And then third question was, there are so many stamps now that it's hard to find the ones I want. Can you please add a favorite feature? And the answer was, we're working on it. Which, thank God. Thank God. I've been asking for a favorite feature. Kagarisu was asking for a favorite feature for so long, and it's finally here.
Yeah. But yeah, this feels like one of those cherry-picked questions. And to be fair, I don't think that this is a situation where they're like, oh, we made this question up. I think someone did ask this question. But they saw it and they were like, oh, we're doing this. Let's grab this question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for like 2029 when they finally decide to implement phishing, and then like, oh yeah, we have question from Kagarisu from like 2021 to add phishing. But yeah, those were the questions, and the next collab is going to be with Atelier Yumia, which was announced during a stream like way before. Honest to God, I never played an Atelier game, but I kind of want to, because they look interesting. I just don't know. There's so many of them, I don't know which to start with.
Didn't it say there's like 26 of them or something?
There are indeed 26, yes.
God.
And I, to my fellow Type 1 enjoyers out there, we can only pray that they actually decide to include some of these characters' outfits. But there are some pretty cool characters that have really cool outfits for Type 1. It's just, we're not holding our breaths that we'll actually get them with these collabs. As some people have become recently disenfranchised with the entire concept of getting good outfits.
Yeah. And another thing, they have this new segment since Headline Wave where they talk about concept art or stuff that like goes into creation of the game. And I find the art they provided for the Volgan weapon very interesting, because they might have accidentally revealed how the color variant looks like. It's like dark, and the jewel is different color.
Oh, actually, I saw that.
Yeah. So I wonder what's that about, because there's a dark version where the jewel matches Force color, but there's also a dark version where it's like turquoise. So how is that gonna work?
Yeah, I think I might have missed that. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, and there's like bow, or maybe I think I know what's going on. It's same weapon model but for different things.
That might be it.
Yeah, okay, that might be it. So the hunter sword is black with a red crystal, and the soaring blade is black with a light green crystal.
So the bounce of colors, yeah.
So that's what it's about. Huh, so I guess the katana is literally just a gunblade then?
Yeah, that's something they've done before, and I'm just hoping that they decide to pick like better weapons for it, because I don't know who decided on how they were going to do some of these weapons for the Krez weapons, but like, let's just say your boy was not super happy with how the soaring blades looked comparatively when you look at something like the sword and like even the partisan. The partisan looked like the sword, but they extended the handle and like shortened the blades at the top. I was like, that's cool. That makes sense. And I looked at the soaring blade and they're like, this is just a really, really bad looking pitchfork sort of thing. Like, I understand what they were going for here and it looks awful. Like, why didn't you just make the sword, but like maybe flatter or half of it or something? Like, oh, that would look weird in like crazily sized. I'm thinking to myself, you guys have never seen some of the camos that we've had, have you?
Yes, I do.
I was like, I might introduce you to Hyper Ninja, which is quite literally for the jet boots, just swords on your feet that were smaller. And the sword version of it was just the sword, and in the soaring blades version was literally just two of the swords, same size.
Anyway, we have no community questions for this episode, so
send us some for the next one.
Yes, please.
Unfortunate, you missed your chance to ask me all the questions you want to know, and now you guys will never know the answers.
Exactly.
It'll remain secret.
You will never know what Krono did during the beta that caused main class weapon bonuses.
Listen, I can't confirm it's my fault, but I can't deny that it might be. So again, all I say to you, ARKS, is just keep in mind the things you ask for. You may not understand the repercussions of the things that you say.
Yeah,
don't ask for NGS to be shut down and then complain when we don't get PSL3.
exactly.
That is a very common thing that I've told people multiple times, is that just because of a game failing does not necessarily mean we will get the next one. A lot of people that are just ready to kind of jump ship and they're like, I'll just come back for PSO3. I'll just wait for this game. If this game will just stop existing, then we get PSO3. I just want to introduce you guys to Xenoverse 2 for the Dragon Ball series. They still have Xenoverse 2, and it's still there, and it keeps still being there. And a lot of people are thinking that it's going to go away and they're going to get Xenoverse 3, and it's still Xenoverse 2. So I just realized that it's not always the case.
Also, if they shut down NGS, it's probably only going to be the global version, and all the people complaining about NGS are gonna be left there without a game. Meanwhile, I'm going back to JP servers. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, no, if NGS global ever shut down, I'd probably go right back to JP again as well.
Yeah.
Like, within seconds, so my account still there, it exists.
Like, I know many people probably wouldn't go back.
Yeah, I don't know if I would.
Yeah, and
It would be
like,
rough.
It's completely fair not to, especially if like your friends don't want to go over. But to me, I'm like, damn, I've been playing this game consistently since 2017. The only break I ever took was during Endwalker, where I missed half of the seasonal event because of it. But like, man, this game means so much to me. I'm not going to abandon it just because a bunch of doomers don't like it.
To be 100% honest, like, and I've said this multiple times too, is like, I enjoy PSO2. Like, I have fun. I have a lot of fun playing NGS. There are things I don't like about the game. I've been very vocal about those things. I haven't been a bad person or a doomer about them, but like, people seem to think that like I don't have any problems with the game. I have literally made entire videos explaining every problem I have with the game, listing them for them, like in a row, like that sometimes people respond to, and I'm like, I think you missed the complete point of this video, but that's fine. I appreciate your interaction, but like, I still enjoy the game for what it is, and I enjoy PSU for what it was, and I enjoy, to be perfectly honest, I think my favorite iteration of any Phantasy Star game was PSP2i. And that was for the Vita. Like, and
that's a great game.
No one came close to that for me. Like, that was a really, really fun system. It had a lot of really, really cool stuff that hasn't come back in any game. And like, I'll still play those games and enjoy them. But just thinking one game going away is going to suddenly fix all of the problems and give you what you have. I mean, maybe if you're a gambling man, sure. Like, you've given up on this one. You're like, I'll gamble on the next one being exactly what I want. But who knows? It might just be even worse of what you did want. So
yeah. I don't think if they're going to make a Phantasy Star Online free, that it's going to go back to what PSO was. If anything, it would probably move away further from it. Because every Phantasy Star game is a product of its time. And back during PSO, it was like normal to have that kind of game. Nowadays, I don't think it would do as well. And especially if you look like I mentioned before with Digimon World 4, people hate this game, like the majority of it, at least on the internet. I personally love it, but like the vast majority of people hate this game. Even to this day, they don't get it. They don't understand that it's a looter RPG. And when I point it out, they're like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah, it's a very different game. Look at Digimon World 1 versus World 4.
Like, I absolutely adore
World 4.
I absolutely adore Digimon World 1, but it's like I don't think a new fan would get into that game as easily as I do, because I have first I know the strategy guide for the game inside out, so I know what to do. The game does a terrible job of telling you what to do. There's like,
it doesn't tell you at all.
There's so many translation errors that are insane. Like, especially if you play the German version, it feels like talking to a gibberish person. Like, and like, even the fucking official strategy guide doesn't tell you everything about the game. You can tell that the people who did it didn't care about it, because like, it tells you how to beat the main boss, and that's it. But that's half of the game.
Missing, like, if we're talking about Digimon World 1, I assume that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah.
It's missing things like the errors to, because certain Digimon, to get certain evolutions, you need to have like errors in training. It's missing information about like stat breakpoints for specific Digimon. It's missing information about like how their life scales and things like that. Like, it's a lot of things. Like, I played a lot of Digimon World games, and it's so funny because like, you play World 1, and if you were a Digimon fan back then, you played World 1, you're like, oh, this is so awesome, like, if you enjoy the taming side of things, right?
Yeah.
But then you think you're going into the same thing going into World 2, and suddenly you're playing
Mystery Dungeon
RPG. Like, you're playing Mystery Dungeon, like, just completely, it's just whiplash.
Yeah.
And then you go play 3, and they're like, oh, we took out the tank, and now it's an open world RPG instead. You're like, okay. And then you play World 4, and now it's a looter RPG. You're like, what's going on? Why is Guillemon holding a sword? Like, what am I looking at? Like, what happened?
And then another thing is, like, if you're aware of the Japanese names, then it's like, Digimon World 4 isn't even World 4. It's called Digimon World X in Japan. It's a spin-off that they just made a mainline game out of. Yeah. I'm very glad we're over that time period where Digimon World games were, like, very questionable in their localization. because I remember when they announced that Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth came westwards, and every Digimon Story game before that was dubbed Digimon World for some reason. And then I was like, oh, they're gonna call it Digimon World Cyber Sleuth, aren't they? And no, they actually kept the story name. I'm like, fucking finally.
Oh, funny you mentioned Digimon. It's August 1st. It's Digimon Day.
True. Well, it's August 2nd for me, but
it's first. It's first for me. So
yeah, I live in the
out.
future.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys are living. You live in the future, and you happen to be ahead of me.
Yeah.
Oh, soon.
15 minutes, and then I'll be in the future.
I'm like 5 hours from the future right now, so I'm way further back. I'm living in the past. Our wheels are still made of stone here, but it's really funny that it was mentioned because total tangent. I play Crystal of Atlan, and today specifically, like on the 1st, they announced a Digimon collab with Crystal of Atlan, which was not in my bingo card at all. I was like, I don't know why Agumon is standing next to the Berserker, but like that's a thing. Like, I'm not sure what's going on there, but they've come out of left field with collaborations before, so.
Yeah, I feel like they actually put someone in charge of Digimon marketing who cares. Because today, on August 1st, they also revealed one of the Digimon for the upcoming Time Stranger game. And it's Apocalypse, which I'm like, you motherfuckers, you know what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like that was the reason why we celebrate August 1st as Digimon Adventure fans was Digimon fans was because Digimon Adventure, like most of it, took place during August 1st, and the main bad guy of Adventure was Apocalypse. So they know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like it's the first was when also it was like when they I think the big for like most normal, like I want to say normie Digimon fans, I feel like that's kind of rude. People who like really didn't get super heavy into it, like just kind of were like casual fans. That was the day that they got their Digivices, like the original cast. So like that's always been like the day. Like a lot more happened on that day, but like that was like the big thing for them.
Yeah.
So see that it's been treated like this is actually pretty cool. So PSO2 Digimon collab one.
Oh please. like all the Cyber Sleuth outfits that the girls are wearing, they would be selling so hot on New Genesis.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like Nokia alone would probably carry the scratch.
I'll take your word for it because I know nothing about it.
Type 2 scratches. Oh. Am I the only Type 1 player amongst us all? Is that what this is? I know there's only like 12 of us in the entire game, apparently, but like, I really didn't know if it was just me.
Yeah, ARKS are a nation of Amazons, apparently.
They are, and it's funny because as Type 2 players, a lot of Type players, they just they accept it. But then there's some Type 1 players that are just very upset about that concept. Like they're really mad, and they call me a shill for just being like, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Because like, oh, well, if there's more Type 1 outfits, then there'd be more Type 1. I was like, you have never played MMOs. And it shows. Because it doesn't matter how good they are, I promise you, there would not be more Type 1 players.
It does not matter what you release for Type 1. There will always be more Type 2 players.
Absolutely. Okay.
Krono, plug your channel.
Plug myself? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Hi. Hello. My name is Krono. You can find me in most places. YouTube.com/Krono Katastrophe, Twitch.tv/Krono Katastrophe. Funny enough, Kick.com/Krono Katastrophe. That hasn't been streamed on, but it exists. It's there. That's mine. Twitter @ZenKronos. Instagram @Krono Katastrophe. Kick. I almost said Kick again. Wow, it's on the brain. TikTok @Krono Katastrophe as well. So you find me all those places at all those names. That is pretty much where you will find me consistently. Yeah, usually stream, make YouTube videos. About PSO2, mostly about PSO2, but also been playing things like Crystal of Atlan. I'm recently jumping into Final Fantasy 14 rating again, so that's gonna be funny. Jumping in with a casual group, so I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. But I'll be getting with my main group afterwards. So, yeah. Thanks for having me. I like to
Anyways, nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
it was nice meeting you as well. Yeah.
for the next episode, we're gonna have Redboot on.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. They, I don't know how many people pay attention to the feedback channel, but they're basically like the soul warrior fighting for PSO2 Classic changes.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah. He did manage, or they, I don't know their pronouns, but they did manage some changes, so they're definitely listening to feedback. So yeah,
It's always a plus. I have divisive opinions about base PSO2 and how they should be handling that situation, and I would like to see some things happen.
Yeah, I feel like you basically nailed it on the head the last time you talked about it, where it's like, yeah, bring back some mission pass and seasonals, and
Yeah,
just breathe in a little bit of life into the game, and you've got because like on JP you basically can't min-max Summoner anymore, because like they don't have an exchange shop where they can just get all the candy they want, and on global you can't min-max other classes because the Ripper Slayers augments never released fully here. So
yeah,
great. We also never got the 2021 weapon badge exchange shop, which features all the seasonal rewards that ever came out in PSO2, among other things. So, yeah, there's still some discrepancy between the versions that I wish they ironed out a little bit better.
Yeah, not to take away anything from the next conversation you guys are going to have for the next podcast, but yeah, the TLDR is very, very straightforward and simple. Is utilize the mission passes, bring back things. You shouldn't have to try this hard to get best in slot in base game. Like it's almost impossible for people who weren't playing at the time that it actually released, which is ridiculous in current year.
That's also something. Finish first.
I was saying it's that specifically, and like, just you don't have to make it complicated. It doesn't have to be crazy, but like, just cycle the seasonal stuff. Like, let it keep rolling. Like, it doesn't have to be the new seasonal stuff, but like, if we do like, oh, I like the Christmas stuff on NGS or whatever, and like, oh, dude, I'm gonna go back and do some Christmas stuff back in base game. Like the event that's going on, like the SAO event has never come back for people who weren't playing at that time. Like, that's not something you have to do anything crazy. Like, just toggle it on, let it run, and then toggle it off or whatever. Like,
yeah,
very simple things.
Yeah, what I wanted to mention is like to basically elaborate on your gearing thing. Like, I play Tector Luster because after At Wall came out, one was basically like abandoned on Tector. But in order to do that, because Tector has a skill that boosts their damage when they're matching elements, and the idea was that, oh, you have a skill ring that matches elements, so you're technically always gonna match elements on Wand. Problem is, you don't have that on Gunblades, and Gunblades are way stronger on Tector thanks to the Luster subclass. So what I have to do now is to make 6 different element Gunblades of Cress, or Crass, I don't remember which one it was. But
Crass.
The title rewards only give you 2 stones, and the rest you have to farm from the hardest quest in the game.
So Title Rewards gave you 2 stones, and you got 1 stone from the mission pass at the time.
2.
That's now gone.
On global you got 2 from the mission pass. But
was it 2?
Yeah, because I have 4. I lucked out.
Oh yeah.
Like when I did the solo Sodam ultimate quest, the only way I could clear it is because I built my 3rd cross, and then because like the way the quest works, he starts out cycling through mono element stages like fire, ice, wind, and lightning, and then halfway through he starts to combining those elements. So he has fire and ice, and lightning and wind. And then after you beat him down enough, he switches to his Gomorrah form, which is weak to light. So he has 5 elements I need to cover. But what I did is... okay, so in the second phase, he has combined elements. So I'm gonna cover those phases and this will cover the first phase, but like only half of them. And then I'm also going to have a light gunblade, so I can deal all the damage during the final phase. And all of that fucking brain gymnastics, and all of the applying BIS augments on my units, BIS augments on 3 different gunblades, was necessary for me to complete the quest as a Tector. Which is insane, because Laster can just pick any weapons and fucking clear it with 10 minutes remaining.
All that? You were faster than Etwalon's Warring Blades.
Yeah. and it's so infuriating, because if I had not the extra stone from the mission pass from like 2021, I would have not cleared that quest. I don't think I would have, and that's not something that should be going on. Like, the game, it's nice that they went through all the effort to keep PSO2 around. I love the fact that I can just go to a Ruka device, log into PSO2, and play some Mesetan shooter with the boys. That's a very fun Tuesday night. But if I want to min-max, it shouldn't be so difficult to do it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when there's a system that exists that could fix the problem.
Yeah. Literally just rerun some generic mission pass, and then make an exchange shop where the previous items from previous mission passes are in there. So if you want to get them, you exchange the items from the mission pass to get your mission pass badges, and you get the outfits that were part of the mission pass, and you have like a reason to actually play the game. I really don't understand why they feel like leaving the game in such a state is okay, because it's like, it's anything but.
I don't think it's a state of leaving it in that state. I think they're concerned with other things. And to be fair, I don't disagree with them pushing more effort into trying to do PSO2 things. I just don't think that they're right there. I just don't think it requires as much as they think it does.
Yeah, especially since like NGS had like, I would say the first year was very light on content, and I feel like what would have helped that time period is if they still had reasons to play PSO2, especially for global players, because we got the game very late over here.
For sure.
And like seasonal events, like nobody would be like, oh, I'm gonna stop playing NGS because PSO2 has seasonal events again and mission passes. Like that's not how it's going to work. But people who want to play PSO2 during like their off time or whatever, now all the Ripper Slayer augments are available from the urgent quests that are seasonal. And or you want a grease stone to make a cross? There you go. Just fill out your mission pass. Got you covered.
Yep. Reason to log in and do stuff.
Yeah. And hey, if you want to play PSO2 24/7, that's another thing that keeps you playing for longer. And it realistically, I would imagine it would require very little on the part of the developers to implement that. Maybe I'm just like ignorant and I don't know how badly PSO2 suffers from spaghetti code, which is possible. But from the little knowledge I have, I can't imagine it'd be difficult to have just generic mission passes roll indefinitely.
I think for me, it's just that their focus is entirely on NGS and not on PSO2 anymore. I think there is left PSO2 up there as an option for people to play if they want to, but it's clear their focus is obviously on NGS.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% agree. I think that's exactly what's happening in that situation itself, and it's just like, again, like one side, I wish they would just do these things, because I also am ignorant of whether or not that'd be easy to do. I talk about it like it's just flip a switch, stupid. I have no idea if that's how that works. I have no idea if that's how that works. But at the same time, like, people are talking about how the game's people quitting in droves, or people talking about how they should uninstall and all those other things. Like their focus, I feel like, is where it should be. It would just be nice if it also kind of was a little bit on that other side, you know?
Yeah, because you have you have all these other MMOs like WoW and RuneScape, which provide old school servers, and on our end, we already have an old school server. We just don't have the live service features that would make the game more enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. And to be fair, the WoW side of things took them a lot longer to get that. And OSRS, the game had to literally explode for that to happen. So, I mean, we're kind of pretty in comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's something that they really should at least look into.
Yeah. Okay, I think we yapped for enough.
I think so too. I could yap forever though. Not gonna put you guys through that.
I think it helps a lot for the podcast, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making talking about things a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks for being here, Krono.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks again, yeah.
And I hope everyone at home had fun with the podcast. We'll see you in the next month. And yeah, bye.
Bye.
Later.